Now for probably the trickiest socially distinctive marker of them all, its and its.
This is a very difficult one to teach because it's really hard because it apostrophe s, by analogy with other examples, it should be possessive. John's house, John apostrophe s, house. I own a house. Todd's, Todd apostrophe s, computer. The computer's owned by Todd.
Right.
So you would think.
Grammar Dog's sidekick, Mimi.
That's right. That's true. Mimi loves you, by the way. But anyway.
Well, likewise. But it's the apostrophe s in all those cases, and that marks the possessive.
Exactly. Now the problem is, then by analogy, you see the word it apostrophe s, and you think that's the possessive.
It should be.
It should be,
I
but
think.
it isn't. It's a contraction of it is or it has. So, you see, now I can explain this, and it might get a little bit complicated, and I could be wrong because I've forgotten everything I know, but I'm still much smarter than you are. I'm speaking to Todd, not to the viewer of this iPad. What is this thing called?
I have no idea. It's an Well, it's YouTube is what this is going on.
This thing we're doing together. So in the Middle Ages, I hate the word thing, as you will know. How are things, by the way, Todd? Look at that thing over there. Anyway, so in the Middle Ages, we could say around Shakespearean time before, maybe around Chaucer's time. No, between Chaucer and Shakespeare, there were three things that marked ownership in English. And it was his book, her book, and hits book. Hits. And that's no apostrophe. And that was possessive.
Okay.
Now, what happened? For some reason, we don't know what happened, but over the years, we kept the his and the her, but we dropped the H in front of hits, and it became its. So, you see, it's.
That's a good way to remember it, though. Did they ever find the H, like roaming around?
No, they never found it, except in words that have two H's in them, and one is probably excessive. But I can try to explain this a little more with examples. This is very similar to what is called. It's very simple. It's a sesquipedalian word, but it's called pre-vocalic H dropping. And that means that before the vowel, the H drops off. So, for instance, we only have two examples I can think of. Let's see, it's, I can't think of them now, actually. I can go some English examples, though. They say they have pre-vocalic H dropping. It's an hotel. I didn't say it's a hotel. Mm-hmm. They say it's an hotel. It's an hospital.
An hospital, too, right?
An hospital. And so there are so many words that are so different. One word that really bothers me is when an American, now something called a gentilism or a hypercorrection is when people use words that they think make them sound smarter, but actually they make them sound stupid for someone that knows about the language. One of my pet peeves is Americans, not English people, but Americans who say, he's an historian. He's an historian. Americans.
Where do you stand?
Let me
go ahead.
Finish.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
So we would say he's a historian. He's a historian because we don't drop the H. They say he's an historian, but Americans don't drop the H. Oh, I know. One of the two words that we do the pre-vocalic H dropping is, we don't say it's a honor to meet you. We do pre-vocalic H dropping. We say it's an honor to meet you. Oh, the other one is hour. No one says I'll be there in a hour.
Yeah, the time, 60 minutes. Yeah.
I'll be there in an hour. I'll be there in an hour. An hour. So we drop the H. So we don't say we'll be there in a hour. So those are two examples. In honor, an hour.
The most amazing thing about that whole description, that whole discussion was that it emerged from the difference between its and its with no apostrophe.
The problem is this is probably the biggest socially distinctive marker you hear all the time.
Yeah. Well, it's as said, I mean, it's a super easy mistake to make, and really the only way to fix it is to read closely once you've written something, because it's easy to miss. Again, spell checkers don't typically catch
Well,
it.
actually, the other thing is you could do a search for both its and its, and you could find it. That's an easy way. And if you're and of course, again, in speech, there's we transmit meaning. That's what communication is, to transmit meaning from one speaker to a listener. And in speech, you don't hear it, right? But then the elitism comes in, if you will, and you want to make sure that you don't commit this egregious, horribly bad error.
If you have any questions or ideas for future episodes, please let us know in the comments.